Yo, what up, Jeffrey?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Strong Arm Flix. Man, forgive me. I'm eating my spaghetti. It's my dinner
Yeah.
and my garlic cheese toast. Man, so how you been, bud? How you been since
uh,
the last time I talked to you on here? Everything going good?
yeah, everything's going good.
That's
yeah,
awesome. That's awesome.
we,
Yeah. Same here. I'm on a layoff for a couple of days. For taking the vaccine. Um,
mm.
so I got a couple of paid days off, a vacation, if you will. So yeah, I'm doing all right here on my end. So man, there's a lot of stuff going around. A lot of DCEU news and updates and stuff I want to talk about on here about more than just what's in the title of this live stream. Obviously, the number one I want to get to is the most spiciest one, which is going to cause probably going to be very controversial. The thoughts and opinions from this channel that will be coming at you. So everybody don't freak out.
yeah.
Anyway, but yeah. So did you by chance catch the new Suicide Squad movie, Jeffrey?
Yes, and it really to just start it off, like halfway through the movie, I kind of had this outer body experience where I was actually thinking about turning on HBO Max instead to watch the 2016 Studio Squad because it really did make me appreciate that movie more. like
Yeah,
when
but you know,
if you want to talk about controversial, there it is.
yeah, I couldn't have said that better myself, Jeffrey. Um, Not gonna act like the movie was a steaming pile of shit. The movie was not terrible.
yeah.
The movie was not good to me. That's my opinion. Everybody might take it um, different. I said from the get go, I seen from the trailers, I'm like, this probably ain't my cup of tea. I never thought that, it's James Gunn. I don't really, I'm not a James Gunn fan per se. Well, not at all, actually. I liked his Guardians movies, though. But I knew off rip, like, I wasn't going to be super into it. Just from the trailers and all the promotional material. But I knew like I said, I was going to watch it anyway. It's DC. I love DC. It wasn't, it just wasn't for me or you. But, the opinions that we express here, these are our opinions. That doesn't mean, you guys go out, you watch it. Just don't bash, don't harass James Gunn. We don't need none of that shit going on, guys, because our mission is more important than that. And on top of that, we're better people than that. And I've been arguing with people all day on Twitter that are just straight calling us cultists and back to all that bullshit again. And saying, we're trying to destroy the movie. And yeah, just don't give them the gasoline for the fire that they're trying to start. At the same time, though, there's nothing wrong with having an opinion about something that you watch. That's your right as a consumer. And like Jeffrey said, in my opinion too, it made me appreciate, and it made me appreciate the original movie much fucking more. Especially the fact that I'm such a hardcore fan. We know about everything that went on behind the scenes. We know how the movie was chopped up into pieces. It's Studio Squad, just like Jeffrey said. So we know that there is a much more deeper and layered, beautiful, darker movie underneath all that bullshit. You can see glimpses of it when you watch it. The first Suicide Squad. So I think maybe on one level, maybe that gives me part of my appreciation more for it, because I know what's there, and I hope to God one day I will truly be able to see the performances that are being shown to us. Hashtag release the Ayer Cut.
Yep.
But at the same time, though, I wish that critics, Jeffrey, what do you think about the critics, Jeffrey? I want to hear your opinion. You know how you said that after you seeing the new one, that it made you appreciate the first one a lot more. So what do you say to critics that you would think would have that same, not every critic, but, some of them, you would think some of them would have that same opinion, but in fact, Jeffrey, they share the opposite of your opinion. I just seen a couple today where they came out, a couple of critics, writing articles, puff piece shit, on the internet, and they said that that this new one couldn't come fast enough, so that basically they could forget and put that other one in their fucking rear view window. You would think that after critics bashing David Ayer for the over the top CG third act, and then James Gunn doing a over the top CGI third act with a character that I would have never have chosen in a million years. And a Starro, and then the fact that the way they textured and animated him, it was like, I don't know, it looked like something that should have been in a Marvel universe or off a fucking cartoon cereal box. Like, it didn't look like it belonged in the movie. I'm not saying the animation on Starro was bad. Something about the texture or the colors, and just, it didn't look right at all. It was offsetting. When I was watching the movie, I'm like, what is going on here? And the fact it was a giant CGI monster, and that was the biggest criticism that critics gave David Ayer, ripped him a new asshole for when that first Suicide Squad movie came out, was that third act. How do you feel, and what do you have to say to critics that say that have that to say as a response?
Really, to me, first off, like going off the whole Starro point, really, I think this is just a good example that if you're doing a giant CGI fight, you have to go into, you have to do a giant monster fight in nighttime or somewhere in the dark, because I will tell you this, I was watching, I actually did see the entire James Gunn Suicide Squad, and I gotta say, when Starro was in that, when Starro was in his tube and or whatever it was, it's a prison. When Starro was in his prison, I will say he really did look a lot more threatening in the dark. But then when it came to him in the sunlight, it was like, dude, this looks bad.
Yeah.
But in terms of like really the people who say that this who say that who are really hypocritical about the third act situation, like my thing is, I told you, like I said this before, that I didn't feel anything for the third act in James Gunn's Suicide Squad and the third act, because it was like I really didn't feel anything about it, and really didn't feel the threat of Starro, because looking at the CGI in daylight, it just looked so bad that it took me out of the movie. But because of the CGI in the third act of Studio Squad, it was so dark and so realistic that you really did feel the threat of Enchantress and his brother.
Right.
And really,
what's up, what's up, Fatal J? 1 second.
And that's really the thing. Like I know I sound like a full on. I know I'm sounding like a film student. Honestly, I'm not, but really, like you could tell that the fact that you have sorrow in full daylight is less menacing than is a lot less menacing is really telling, especially when you have Enchantress and and her brother fighting the Suicide Squad in the darkness, and the darkness really put that aesthetic of like, oh wow, things are about to go down. Like
Right.
this is real. So really, in terms of that, it's like, yeah, I gotta go for the Studio Squad in terms of the aesthetic of the third act.
Right. And all right, let's go through some of these comments. All right, we got Fatal J in here. Release the Ayer Cut. What up, Fatal? If you want to join Fatal, if you got time, just let me know. I'll shoot you a link. Same thing with you, Igor, and anybody else. See right here. I almost thought that said Mr. West Ashley. I don't think that's his account though. W Murphy. All right, this one said WB is for the streets. Glad I didn't pay for this, nor gave it a view on HBO Max. I feel you. Igor said, "Fado, my ninja."
Oh, okay.
And then
So he's 90s man on Twitter.
Oh, okay, nice. What up, 90s man? Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah, that's what I know his name by. Oops, make that spaghetti streaks. Yep. And then
but yeah, like really my biggest problem with
Teddy Monster Productions. He said, "This is good news to me. Cracker Chan Hamada ran a DCEU film like this, cheap horror films, and used blue checks, shills, bloggers, and critical high praise to market the film, and it tanked."
Yeah, and really, I think since we're getting to the third act, like really, I think, and we were actually talking about this behind this before we went on air, but what happened, but really to me the character that got the most downgrade is Waller.
Yes.
Because
let's talk about Waller for a minute.
Yeah, let's talk about Waller for a minute, because a lot of people are saying that Waller in this Suicide Squad movie was better than the 2016 version.
No way.
And I'm like, what? Because to me, like this, because to me it's like in 26. Because it's like me with when I was watching 2016 when I was watching Studio Squad, you had Waller kill people she was working with because they knew too much, and that was the whole point of the Suicide Squad, because the mission that they were doing was something that the government was hiding, so that if they found out something that they weren't supposed to find, Wally could just kill them, aka hence the name, the Suicide Squad. And so in Studio Squad, you have Waller shoot people that are doing their job, and and the reason why she killed them was because they knew too much of something that they weren't supposed to find. Then you go to then you go into then you go to this movie, and it's like she's a completely different person. Like, she's not paying attention to the mission. She's playing mini golf, and
Yeah.
and at the end of the movie, when it comes down to her screaming at them, saying, "No, turn back around, you come back here, yada yada yada," and she's right at the detonator, and I'm like, why doesn't she just kill them like with what she did in 2016? And then she gets blast, and
Blasted
then
with that bat.
and then she gets hit with the bat, and it's like, why did? And then it was like, and now that I'm thinking about it, because I completely forgot about the workers in that scene. Like, why didn't she kill them? Because them, compared to the 2016 studio squad, she was those 2021 guys. They were not doing their job and were basically kind of being idiots compared
Right.
to the 2016 version. So
Exactly.
it's like,
and and the thing is, here's the problem that I had with Amanda Waller, because I feel like she broke character when she started screaming and shaking like
yes,
that. She's
yes,
one that's always like she's like trained tactical military style. Like, doesn't show a lot of emotion, and when she does, it's in different ways. You know what I mean? It's displayed in different ways because she's a complex character, a dark, complex character. But when she started like some kind of crazy spoiled bitch or something, just get out screaming at him, I'm like, what the hell? Who is this person?
right.
Amanda Waller talking like that. Then it's a dink, knocked her ass out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, Amanda Waller gets knocked out by her own people, and at the end of the movie, she didn't kill all of them motherfuckers. Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, right. This is not okay. So then that was my issue with Amanda Waller. That was something that I feel like James Gunn didn't quite understand Amanda Waller's character, and he just kind of carried her over. I don't feel like he understood her the way that David Ayer did. And the other issue that I had with Harley Quinn, her action in this movie was phenomenal. All of her stunts, that is the best action I've seen Harley Quinn on screen perform. Just all of it, just beautifully shot. Mwah. Okay, good job for that aspect. That's the great takeaway with Harley Quinn from this movie. On the downside, she comes off to not give a fuck, like on a cruel level that makes you unsympathetic with her character. Like, she forgets the guy who's been following them around over and over again. Then he gets killed, and then she says something about, she tells Bloodsport that his name's Milton or some shit. Or, your name's Milton, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, are you serious? Like, you're really an asshole. And, they turned her into an asshole. And then she's not as smart as she used to be for some reason in this film. And I don't know if they dumb her down slightly for more comedy, like to make it like trying at a failed attempt to make her more funny or something. But that was something that I didn't really care for, and that was my takeaway from it. On the other thing, though, the action with her was fucking awesome. The visuals on her and her fighting style and everything was shot really good. Even when she was down in that hole and had all that mud and was all tied up, that was beautifully shot. So I don't have no issues there. But,
and really, I do agree with you because once again we talked about this before air, where I told you that looking at the movie and how it's structured, it seemed to me like the whole side plot that Harley Quinn was going through really didn't seem to be needed. Like, it was kind of like a fetch quest and it just like really like you're not like you're talking about the visual aspect of it, but you're not really talking about like what happened with the move with Harley Quinn side plot, and it just seems like this movie really marketed as Harley Quinn as the poster.
7 people in here
It
smash
was
on my button.
because it seems like for this movie and the marketing for it, that Harley Quinn was kind of like the poster child of it, but really wasn't given anything to do.
Exactly. And the other thing is too is the original. Also, spoiler alert: if you haven't seen the movie, obviously, I should have put something up on the thumbnail. I just thought about that. I'm so sorry to you guys for anybody jumping in here. I hope that the thumbnail alone will let you know. You know, it's going to be some. Obviously, we're talking about the movie, so if you haven't seen it, you know, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. But that's exactly what we're doing on here, where we're talking about the movie, things that happened in it. So if you haven't seen it, I'm just letting you know that we're obviously doing spoilers. I know I'm saying this probably a little late. Hopefully you guys caught on from the thumbnail. Next time I will put that in the thumbnail though. I just thought about that. But the thing is that I didn't like though, is that the cast from the first movie, right, that they brought back, right? The few people, the OG cast from the first movie, right, that they brought back, they completely, James Gunn, just, of course, only Harley Quinn lives. And which isn't an issue for me. I figured as much. It just shows me that it didn't seem like he had a whole lot of respect for what was done in the first movie. But you know, it's his movie to do what he wants with, and you know, he did do his thing with it. You know, his movie was untampered. They let him make it how he wanted to make it, for better or worse. And you know, it's a mixed bag with me. It's not terrible. It's just it wasn't great as far as I'm concerned. I have issues with it. And one of the biggest issues I have is you're telling me you brought Captain Boomerang back and you killed this dude like as soon as the movie started. Like as soon as Harley talked to Captain Boomerang, she actually acknowledged like, you know, like they're that they've met before in the first movie to some degree. And then like the next scene, like this guy he's dead. And I didn't really care for that because it just seemed like, did you literally bring the original couple of cast members back just to show us that you're going to kill them? Because you couldn't even get halfway throughout the movie without killing the entire couple of people that you brought back from the first cast, except Harley Quinn. And we all knew that shit was going to happen. We knew Harley Quinn wasn't going to get killed off. We knew that shit. That would have been a better surprise to see her.
Yeah.
That would have been a better.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, no shit. Wow, that would have actually shocked me. That's something
done,
since as he's doing his own thing with this movie. And, you know, he can do whatever he wants. They told him, hey, you can have any character you want. You can do what you want. You can kill whatever you want. And I think that would have been a more shocking and gave the audience a run for their money is to do that on a surprise note. Because this is like a third iteration that's a spinoff of Harley. This is the same Harley from Ayer movie. This ain't the same Harley from Birds of Prey. This is another adaptation. And I can't, but what doesn't make sense is that she acknowledged knowing Boomer. And that's what she called him. So, and then the other thing is they made Rick Flag a fucking moron.
Yeah.
They turned him into a serious and cool character that you could relate with. At the end of the movie, you can see, he does have a heart. In this movie, he was just he was still likable. But they made him a jackass because there's this one line that stood out the most to me. He says, what did he said, when they were on the plane, they were looking at that little, whatever it was, wolf looking thing.
Yeah, that weasel.
The weasel. And, and they were like, what the hell is that? And he was like, no, he's like, well, yeah, he has killed 23 children, but he's agreed to come with us and all this shit. And I'm like, he's killed 23 children and you're okay with that? I'm like, okay. I thought to myself, moving on.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're
in the climax, he's like, they're experimenting on children. I'm like, bro, have a fucking problem with it in the beginning of the movie. Now all of a sudden, it's because it's the climax of the movie and the plot demands it. Now you give a fuck about children?
Right, because
Now this isn't the same Rick Flag. There's no way this is the same. This is the same guy from the first one. Like, and even if it's not the same version of Rick Flag from the first one, this version of Rick Flag is fucking stupid. Still right, but fucking stupid. And they did the same thing to like I said, they did the same thing to Amanda Waller.
Yeah, and that's really the thing about it, because when I saw that connection too, I was like, wait, so because in a way, it's kind of like, if you really think about it in the context of the movie, it's like, it's kind of like saying Rick Flag is okay with kids being killed, but he's not okay with them being experimented on. It's really kind of hypocritical in a sense, and it's really kind of stupid where it's like, wow, so you'd rather have kids be dead than be experimented on. Like it really doesn't make any sense at all with if you look either way you look at it.
Yeah, and another thing is too that pissed me off. That I mean, I guess it set off some kind of reaction in the audience, and that's fine. How is it that they made Peacemaker such a piece of shit, and then he ends up killing Rick Flag, like in such such a despicable way, like for no reason, like you don't even have like good reasoning. And just why? Because I'm thorough. That's really, you're thorough. So anything for peace, but then you don't even explain how does that work exactly.
Yeah, because
let us get in your mind, Peacemaker, and they failed to do that for me. They failed to make me get in his mind, because that's what you do when you write a character or you direct a character good enough.
Right,
you make the audience care. So when they're doing something fucked up like Deadpool, you get it. You're like, but it's like, I get it, But it's like with him, you're just like, you're a fucking asshole, man. Fuck you, Peacemaker.
Yeah,
Peacemaker. And like that's how I felt about him. Like and then the fact that they're gonna choose that they're choosing to give him a standalone HBO show on HBO Max. Like that's gonna be a fucking catastrophe if you ask me, because then he ends up surviving at the end of the movie, and that's what sets up his show. Like, you killed one of the good guys who was trying to save the world to be an evil piece of shit like you've been the entire movie, and then you died, but then the takeaway at the end credit scene was, surprise, I didn't really die, bitches. No one cares. Fuck you, Peacemaker.
And let me tell you, and really this is really the thing about it too. Like really, I think the only new people that's really the problem with having movies that are 2 hours to me, because it seems like, and this is the thing, like you can have fun how many times you want. Like I'm okay with fun, but my thing is you have to have a certain point of character development in the movie as well, because of Peacemaker's plot twist to a villain is really, really kind of came out of nowhere, because I wouldn't be surprised, like, spoiler alert, but I wouldn't be surprised when Rick Flag said, oh, Waller always has a backup plan, and really, like, I would like to have the scene of Waller telling Peacemaker, hey, you have to make sure they don't get this drive, because really I think that would have been a pretty cool flashback to kind of delve deep into Peacemaker just a little bit, so you can kind of tease the Peacemaker show. But when the plot twist happened, I was like, wait, how does that work?
I mean, and the bottom line is, though, Jeffrey, it's just that for whatever reason, James Gunn really had a thing for Peacemaker, but it really didn't translate onto the script and onto the screen well as I think he thought it was going to. Because, obviously, if he's trying to get a solo, TV series made for Peacemaker, I mean, and John Cena's the man. But, I mean, oh my God, I've never met a more unlikable fucking character in the DCEU than fucking Peacemaker. Like, I was watching Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I'm like, yeah, Darkseid, go fuck him up. Yeah, that's why I'm like screaming at the TV, just like, it's one of them, he's just not one of them bad guys that you want to root for. He's not like Deadpool. He's not like the Joker, or like, it's not that he's not them characters. It's that his character wasn't executed well enough to make the audience give a shit about him. Like, and then the shit that he chose to do, the way they chose to handle him throughout the movie was very piss poor, in my opinion. And then, like, he had this thing about just like a lot of like dick jokes for some reason. And then for some reason, they had to give us that creepy part in the film where he was wearing his whitey tighties, and they had to, of course, portray it like he had a big bulging package and shit. And I'm like, why do we need to see this in a fucking close up right now? Because I don't want to see that. And I don't give a fuck about this character. He's a piece of shit. I don't know, man. It was just so weird, man. It just, I don't know, man. It was just weird, bro. Like, not the good kind of weird either. And then real quick, Igor, he said, Jake Courtney as Boomer was definitely great casting by David Ayer. I agree. I loved him being portrayed as a soccer hooligan. He really did have the potential for multiple films, and the character is a perennial Suicide Squad member. Exactly.
And that's really the thing. Like, halfway through, like, I was actually halfway through the movie, and I really did like. This is like, really, I thought Boomerang was going to go off and kind of like this blaze of glory, at least, because I really did expect him to die. But like, after that violent scene, after that death galore scene that we're gonna call it in the beginning, like, I really did completely, like, when Boomerang died, I did when Boomerang died, I didn't know he died. Like, I completely forgot that he died in the film, because I thought it was so
forgettable. The way that he died, it was so forgettable. They couldn't even, James Gunn couldn't even give him something meaningful to do. Like, I've got to get the package here and then lock himself in somewhere and then blow up to save somebody or something. Like, that would have been cool. But the way, I don't even remember exactly how they killed him, but that's how forgettable it was. I just remember thinking, after a few minutes went by, I'm like, wait a fucking minute. That was Captain Boomerang dying. And I had to go back in the film and then watch that part again. I'm like, really?
Exactly.
And I know that and I know that people are going to say, oh, well, he's marketed the movie like this the whole time. Don't get too attached. But the thing is, it's like, yeah, it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like a big middle finger to any of the fans that were fans of the first movie. Because you annihilated the cast that you brought back from the first movie, which is a large part of your audience that came to watch this movie, came over from that movie, okay?
Yeah.
Obviously. And the characters that they knew and loved, you shit on them, and the only one you did justice by is Harley, but you can't even fully say that he did justice by her, because this is another interpretation of Harley Quinn. This ain't even the same Harley Quinn, like, entirely. It's just a completely different version of her again. And she acknowledges on some degree her relationship with Joker, which they're very vague about it on purpose.
Yeah,
very vague with this comment that she makes to this terrorist guy that she's like in love with for like 2 seconds. and then she acknowledges that she knew Boomerang when they got on the plane. And then, like, literally the next scene, boom, Boomer's dead.
Right.
Like, okay,
and that's
wow.
really...
I
and
felt
now
like
that
shit when you killed them.
wait. And now that I think about it, like, since they're friends, since they're established friends, like Boomerang calling Harley Harls and Harley Quinn calling Boomerang Boomer, like, they're, like, you could tell that they're obviously friends, and when Boomerang is dead, it's like Harley doesn't even care.
No, and now she don't even have any kind of a heartstring within her anymore. She's like a hollow, like, I'm like hollow pretty girl, and I'm just psycho, and it's like she's supposed to be more complex than that. That's why people like her character.
Yeah.
You're just breaking her down to the bare shit that no one, like the ugly shit, like, I'm crazy, haha, and I could give a fuck about human life or not.
Yeah, and
you're like a mindless serial killer, and I'm a crazy bitch. Like, and then now she's dumb though. But now she's dumber at the same time. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Right, and that's really the thing with the Joker. Like, he's a serial killer. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, what if you actually read the comics and know the lore and stuff? Like, his Joker is crazy, but he's also really complex.
Yeah, and it intrigues you when you see him. And the fact that we don't never get enough fucking screen time of him, you know, it makes people like, oh, they rewatch it over, and at least I do, when I see Leto's Joker scenes. Trying to overanalyze it, like, you know, what the character's feeling or thinking or what's really going on, you know. All right, and Ray said, greenlighting Peacemaker series before movies and even releases is bullshit. Plus, he is one of the most unlikable characters, and I completely agree.
Yeah.
Greenlighting Peacemaker before a Batman series on HBO Max, before a Ben Affleck Batman, before a Deathstroke, bro. Greenlighting Peacemaker before greenlighting a Snyder Cut 2, a Zack Snyder's Justice League 2, a Ayer Cut, or even just just any of these things. Like, really?
Yeah, and that's really the thing. Like, the movie didn't come out. Like really, like, that really was a really rushed decision to be like, okay, because it was like, okay, I know that the movie, because it was essentially like, hey, I know the movie hasn't come out yet, but I'm thinking about doing a Peacemaker series without seeing the results of this first movie I'm doing.
Yeah,
so,
well, I mean,
and it really was like rushed, and it's like, man, like, it really goes to show, like, once again, like, it really, like, after James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie, like, I'll be honest, like, I do like John Cena as an actor, but
yes, I do too.
But with the context of the movie and what it's given us, like, I really don't care. Yeah, like, I really don't care about the Peacemaker series.
John Cena's Peacemaker was absolute horseshit. I mean, and I would love to see him play a character in DC. I really would. Like, maybe that's not the character for him, though. But like I said, it all comes down to how the character was penned. And he was not, his character was doomed in the script stages. They should have knew, like, this isn't going to translate very well. There's no layers to this character. He's just a strong-ass guy that's a dick. And literally there's nothing more to it than that, except that he's even further a dick. He's the biggest dick on the planet because he just wants to kill women, children. He don't give a fuck. Like, and then there's no, like, backstory given as to why he's like that. And then, like, every instance that he had to open up or to do the right thing, he went out his way to do whatever he thought the most fucked up thing was to do. He went above it and then went up to and did something more fucked up than what you thought he could even do. Like,
yeah,
and it just pissed you off because at the same time, he's supposed to be one of the good guys, not the good guys, but he's supposed to be our team, like one of our main guys and shit.
yep.
And nobody can stop him, damn near. And then at the end of the movie, it come to find out nobody could stop him, and he just gets away with all that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just very unsatisfying to watch his character play out throughout the movie. And like I said, and I think John Cena's the fucking man. It's not his fault that
really, I think the problem with the Peacemaker character in this is really the direction. And really, I know that sounds like I'm taking a dig at him, but really at James Gunn. But really, to me, it's like Peacemaker. Like, I actually did delve it because I actually found out that Peacemaker was actually kind of like the skeleton for the comedian. And really, when I thought about it, I was like, wow, like that really does sound like Peacemaker. And in the comics, Peacemaker is really a lot more complex and really not like a jokey character. Like, he actually does have his reasons for the things that he does. And really, it seems like like he was just there for comedic jokes.
Yeah, but and then on top of that, the comedic jokes, the comedic material they gave him to work with was absolute ass. Like, everything was like dick jokes with him, and then they show us this scene with him like zooming in like on his crotch, but he's wearing whitey tighties. And I'm like, okay,
yeah, because
why is that
I actually had to turn my head away at that. Like, I really did.
I really was like, I'm like, come on, dude. And then the movie rater said, dude, Tflame, James Gunn absolutely destroyed the reputation of Harley Quinn, bro. She only had one good little action scene, had to turn this shit show movie off at exactly 1 hour and 22 minutes. Well, I made it. I watched the whole movie. I'm not going to lie. I watched the whole movie. And I even watched the stupid end credit scene, and I wish I wouldn't have, because it just showed Peacemaker getting the setup for his solo series, which is bullshit.
Right, and same thing for me. Like, I really did tweet this out saying that, man, I was really tempted to put on Studio Squad, and I really was very close to doing so, and that was in the third act. But then I was like, you know what? I'm in the third act already, so I might as well just finish the job.
Right.
So, because really, I really didn't want to finish it, but I just felt like I had to since I was in the third act. So, yeah.
Midwest 93. No mention of Joker whatsoever. There was a slight hint at her about, or there was a slight hint at him. But in the way that they did it, it was like it could have been anybody. She just talked about basically being in a relation, like a fucked up relationship with another guy, and that she told herself that if there was ever any other red flags, and murdering children, that's a red flag. But that was basically it. That was literally it. If you could even call that a reference to the Joker, no reference to anything other than I'd say Bloodsport. He did a really damn good job. His character was why would they not give, if they were going to give anybody, I don't think any of them deserve, I don't think any of the members from the new Suicide Squad movie deserve their own show, to tell you the truth, especially seeing how this movie is performing in the box office right now, considering that as well. But if there was going to be just one, it would damn sure be Bloodsport, because Bloodsport was that guy in that movie. I fucked with Bloodsport. Bloodsport, okay, he made the movie Bloodsport and Ratcatcher 2. I thought that was the dumbest name, the dumbest character And by the end of the movie, I actually really liked that character.
Yeah.
That the girl portraying her. Ratcatcher, basically to me, they could have deleted everybody out of the movie and just had it about Ratcatcher and Bloodsport on a solo movie doing something. They'd have been better off doing that. The movie probably would have been fucking fire, dude.
Yeah.
But everything else that was going on, they didn't have like Bloodsport was the hero of the movie. You know, you could tell that Bloodsport character in the script before they made it Bloodsport, you could tell that was supposed to be Will Smith's Deadshot. That's what pisses me off the most. You can tell. And because then you see it, but the one scene that was even still cringy to me was all the forced swearing. Like, we all swear.
Yeah.
They forced swearing on here, like something that would amuse a 6-year-old. Like, something that to an adult would be cringe as fuck. But something that like a 6-year-old or a 9-year-old might think is cool because they're not supposed to be doing it. You know, like there was this scene where Bloodsport's like talking to his daughter, and what was he at? In prison, like Will Smith was, and she's sitting across from him, and they get into an argument. He's like, "Fuck you," and she's like, "Fuck you." He's like, "No, fuck you. No, fuck you." And they went back and just kept doing this shit.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what is going on right now? I didn't even that scene when it came to Bloodsport. I didn't like that shit. I thought that was a fucking stupid ass scene.
Yeah, and that's really the thing. Like with that scene, I really do think that, and it really does have to go with the whole Milton joke as well. Like I feel like those two jokes could have been cut short because there's the saying that a joke can go for way too long. Like when Bloodsport and his daughter have that nephew like that first time I kind of laughed at it for a little bit, but then it was like but then it kept on dragging, and it was like, oh man, you don't need to keep dragging on this, man. Just and then I eventually got bored of that joke, and then with the whole Milton joke, I think they just should have just stopped on Harley saying who's Milton, and I was like, but then it kept on going, and it was like, oh man, can we get the joke already? Just get on with it.
Yeah, they kept it going to a point where it made her look like a fucking straight bitch. It made her not even a likable. I'm not going to say it made her an unlikable character. I ain't going to go that far. But it really made her a lot less of a likable character by them continuously beating down that bush with that joke. Because it's like, okay, now you're not being funny. You're being a fucking bitch. And it's not even cool. Like, that guy fucking tried to save you guys and got killed.
The movie Raider says the Ratcatcher 2 actress cropped out Walter Hamada and Dan Sarnoff out of an image she posted on her Instagram story. What do you make of that?
What happened? Hold on. 1 second, bro. Hold on 1 minute. Where's that at? Let me scroll down. Hold on. Right there. Okay. The Ratcatcher 2 actress cropped Walter Hamada and Ann Sarnoff out of an image she posted on her Instagram story. What do you make of that? What I make of that is I think that she is happy to be a part of the universe, and maybe that's a symbol that she wants to be under better direction than James Gunn.
Yes.
And maybe it's not even about James Gunn, because even James Gunn, he's got to do what he's told to do. He's under a contract with them now. They own these IPs. And, of course, he's going to be a good soldier. And, yeah, I think that Warner Brothers Studios has always been a director-driven studio, and that, all that bullshit that he said, super corporate shit that he has to say. I'm not bashing on him.
It's a job.
Everybody's got to do things and say things they don't want to say, in the interest of making friends and making money and when you're under an NDA and all that shit. But I think that maybe what that means is that she hopes to be a part of the real DCEU one day is what I think. And I think that with the Ayer Cut and Snyder Cut movement, and getting so much traction now with blue check marks, with overall mainstream and critics now knowing every time we drop an event, they're talking about it, they're writing articles about it. We've got someone who is a lady who is a reporter, a small-time reporter on the news, who knows all about the Ayer Cut, knows more details about the shit than I do, who was tweeting about it and saying, more Jared Leto Joker, release the Ayer Cut. I think that what it means is that finally all these people, their minds are finally open, and they finally know exactly what we were going to get and exactly what we didn't get, and what the hell they're trying to serve us now, and why fans are pissed off. And I think that the ones that already had a general interest that wanted to watch this kind of content, you know what I mean? I think that they're just like, I think that they made the wrong decision. And I think that they can only do certain things like that to show us, because they can't come out, when you're a big star in a movie that just came out, you come out and say some shit like fuck Ian Sarnoff or Walter Amada, your career is fucked. That's a big no-no. So I think that these are the kind of clever things that they got to do to show us where they stand. And some of them have the courage to do it, and I feel like some of them don't. And I feel like that's where we stand with that. I have to check that out in a little bit too.
Yeah, so the Meat Movie Raider. Do you think the Ayer Cut will be announced at DC Fandom in 2021? I think the WB might have called that David Ayer, like how Emmerich called the Bazak after the November 17th event. Fingers crossed. Yes, fingers crossed on that. And really, like, that's really the thing. Like, we knew that if the Ayer Cut were to come out, it would be after James Gunn's Suicide Squad, because the Ayer Cut would overshadow James Gunn, and David really doesn't want to do that. So yeah, fingers crossed on the Ayer Cut coming out this year.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that. Release the Ayer Cut. Hashtag release the Ayer Cut. So another thing is that I was reading too in the last 2 days. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Hashtag release the Ayer Cut, and hashtag Zack Snyder and hashtag David Ayer has been trending the last 3 days on and off ridiculously.
Yeah.
There was somebody, I don't know if it was, there was an article, it was on my Google News feed. I don't know which guy wrote it, but there was an article on that, and I've been witnessing it with my own eyes as well. So meanwhile, Warner Brothers, it looks like, is taking another L. David Ayer and Zack Snyder and the Snyder fans and DCEU fans, we're thriving, and they over there losing. I mean, even if, and like I said, man, I'm gonna keep, I'm not, like I said, man, I don't want no one to go and hate on James's film. I don't want you to give if you like the movie, just say you like the movie. It's okay. If we have a difference in opinion,
yeah,
it's okay that we're all civil here, man. It's okay. There's some things I like that you guys might not like, and vice versa. The main thing is I don't want this community, nobody to be like to the point where you're just like, I'm not saying that you are, but if people are already coming out trying to blame the box office failure of James Gunn's Suicide Squad, well, it's not a failure yet, but it's looking like it's on its way to becoming one. And people are already coming out and blaming us for it and pointing fingers and it's your fault and then you guys also got to watch out too, because I've noticed on Twitter they're all back out again. We've got undercover Marvel fans of James Gunn's and it's not James Gunn's fault in any way, so don't come at James Gunn.
Yeah.
But his fans, he's got certain fans that are undercover creating bot accounts. They got 5 to 7 followers, and then fake profile pictures, and then they're on there talking shit about Snyder fans and Snyder cultists, and because hack Snyder. And I'm like, who the hell even says hack Snyder? That's like a 2016 thing, bro.
Yeah.
Anymore, bro. Like, but I'm just letting you know, them people are out there. They're baiting and they're trolling, and I've been on their motherfucking heads, bro. I've been on their heads. Like, as soon as I see somebody waste their time with one of them, I just go, bot alert, bot alert.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with the IMDb thing that went down when people were saying, "Oh, Snyder fans are review bombing the James Gunn Suicide Squad." When if you actually when you actually went through the account, it was actually a whole bunch of bots, and you could tell because most of the all of the accounts that were giving the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie bad reviews majority of them had numbers on them and stuff, and they were misspelling Snyder. Like they were actually misspelling Snyder's name.
You're gonna tell me that over and over again, multiple motherfuckers didn't know how to spell Snyder, and then I seen someone use a reference, and this was their defense to prove it was people related to this community, that it was Snyder fans and shit. They said they took a picture of way back when Jason Momoa was saying, "Fuck yeah, I want to see the Snyder Cut, woo," and all that shit. When he spelled Snyder, he misspelled it. One with he had two letters switched around or some shit, but he misspelled it one time way back then. So now that's proof that even though Jason Momoa is a fucking celebrity and not one of us, I mean he is one of us, but he's a celebrity, bro, and that you're talking years ago, but that's their proof, their hard proof that that was me, that was you, that was everybody in the community. Wow, I seen that shit and I was like, that's wild, man. That's wild. But yeah, so I don't know. I've just been tracking the box office. We got people trying to say that it's the biggest streamed movie on HBO Max right now.
Yeah, I saw that. And they didn't release it. And the thing is, they didn't release the numbers. They didn't. I actually read the Hollywood Reporter article where they said that, and they said, "Oh, they're not it's basically like another your source trust me, bro thing where." Because in the article they said that they aren't going to show the numbers, but trust me, it's the second most viewed thing on HBO Max.
Yeah, okay.
And you really
somebody said, who was it that said that? Source?
Oh,
and somebody, was that you?
Oh, yeah, and who that was, and that actually said that was the head HBO Max guy. And when I actually read the article to its full extent, he said that the most viewed thing on HBO Max for movies is Mortal Kombat. And I immediately laughed at that because I was like, dude, there is no way that Mortal Kombat has that much views over even Suicide Squad or Wonder Woman 1984.
Right. Exactly. I was trying to find the one though, bro.
I think I DM'd it to you.
Where? But yeah, I can't. Where's it at? Oh yeah, right here. This is where you made me crack up.
Yeah.
The Suicide Squad is Jeffrey Wardfield. The Suicide Squad is the most viewed thing on HBO Max. Source? Trust me, bro. Anyway, where are Max numbers? I'm telling you what, if they release numbers for James Gunn's Suicide Suicide Squad on HBO Max? I know they're not going to. But I don't care what, hey, I know it's not going to be that high. I don't give a fuck what they said. I can tell just by the box office. It's not nowhere near that high. But my point is, they're gonna unleash a whole can of whoop ass on them if they drop any kind of a semi-official numbers for streaming for James Gunn's movie, and they didn't for a fucking Justice League movie, for the Justice League movie of all the DCEU.
And
like, they're gonna have a can of worms on them, Jeffrey.
Yep, and you gotta remember that Zack Snyder's Justice League broke this. I'm gonna be repeating this until they release the numbers. Zack Snyder's Justice League broke the servers multiple times. Like, multiple times, and it's been a number, and in the official and this is the thing too, the Blu-ray charts have been for that UK Blu-ray chart that keeps popping up. Like, it's been in the top 5 for 7 weeks for 7 weeks in a row, with number one of them, and with only one of them, with 6 of those weeks being in the number 1 spot. Like, it's been in the number 1 spot for 6 weeks, and in top 5 for 7.
I want to show you guys this guy this asshole. Wow. Bill Handstock. And of course, my book is out now. Of course I got a book ass motherfucker.
Who's that?
Look at this person. This is what they said. Talking about this community. Snyder fans taking a fucking victory lap because Suicide Squad only did $30 million at the box office opening weekend in the middle of a fucking resurging pandemic. Means that Snyder fans are officially my enemy number 1 now. Well, fuck you.
Who is celebrating that it's a flop? Like, yeah, you have people laughing about it, but for the vast majority of it, like, if you really think about it, like, no one is congratulating that it's a flop. Like I said, like, I made a whole tweet about it, saying that basically we want DC to succeed. Like, that's the thing. Like, we want DC to succeed, and we're just pointing out that the direction that they're going in is just bad. That's what we're pointing out. We're not pointing out that we're not excited about James Gunn. We're not excited about these.
No, ain't nobody fucking excited about that shit. Like, it's not that hard to understand.
Yeah, because if you're actually reading the tweets, we're actually saying that this current direction that you're going on is not the right way to go, because that's the thing about doing standalone movies, is that they're really hit or miss if you really think about it. With especially when you put the no direction thing on there, like, a lot of people aren't going to watch these movies, because I'll be honest, like, for Aquaman, it seems like it's very connected to both Justice Leagues loosely,
right?
But for like Birds of Prey but for movies like Birds of Prey and Shazam and Birds of Prey and the Suicide Squad movie, like, they really didn't feel like any urgency to watch them because they didn't have any direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, I tell you what, I'm gonna go look at this. I gotta read you this response, man. Mondo Nas Prime.
Yeah.
he said, ain't nobody scared of your dumb ass. Sit down and shut the fuck up. What the Oh shit, man. That's too funny. Too funny, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man. And then this guy said, I don't even know who this blue check mark is. Yeah, nobody even know who that one is.
Yeah.
Because I mean, who is this person? Like, it says screenwriter, SD Nation, Fox Sports, SF Giants fan, Emmy Award winner. My book is out now. Sounds like the kind of person that doesn't support shit, just likes to deride and talk shit to me.
Yeah.
You know, they all get mad. They're like, how is it not doing good? Because, asshole, we're the ones that buy the tickets. We're the ones that go out and support this shit. We're the ones that really care about this shit. So anything that you got to say is just that, an opinion. You know what they say? Opinions are like assholes, and everybody's got one of them. And you take yours and shove it, Mr. Bill Handstock. Anyway, yeah, so I was trying to see. Let's look at the box office now. Let's look at the box office. See, and it's such a stupid fucking title that James Gunn chose. Suicide. You put in The Suicide Squad on fucking Google, that bitch brings up the original one, homie. Even if you put in The Suicide Squad box, you gotta put in The Suicide Squad 2 box office to bring this shit up. You can't put Suicide Squad or even The Suicide Squad. It won't bring it up on Google, bro. You've just seen it clearly. CNN, The Suicide Squad underperformed at the box office. Here's why. Nah, we don't want to hear that bullshit. Here's why. COVID. All right, so every other DC movie that fucking released, including the Snyder Cut during the pandemic, that didn't even get a theatrical release, and every Blu-ray DVD was sold out. All the merch was sold out. The clothing, the coffee mugs.
Yeah,
figures,
and I even remember
they remastered BVS. They remastered the Ultimate Edition of BVS, and then that sold out. Then they got the triple box set feature of all three. Then that sold out of Man of Steel BVS.
Yeah,
Ultimate.
and that's really the thing. Like, you guys think about this in the whole context of things. Like, the triples and CD box set was $90. $90 in COVID, and it sold out like hotcakes. Like, that is insane.
And you know what? Even if you want to say that it's because of this new spike in COVID, man, COVID ain't went nowhere, bro. You know, people are either going to go out and see it or they're not. And the bottom line is, there wasn't 1,000,001 DC fans that wanted to see James Gunn make a movie at DC. There wasn't. There just wasn't.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he's redoing a movie that they won't release the original movie that they got in a vault somewhere that's damn near completely finished. Unlike the Snyder Cut, this thing is like, he said this shit was basically all the way done. Done.
Yep. And
they got that in a vault somewhere.
movie,
They won't release that. But they'll give someone else couple $100 million to make
Yep.
another one that's completely out of their range of filmmaking style.
Yep, and really, I've actually heard that the Batman is going through some changes also because Walter Amada and Toby Emmerich don't think that it fits their standards or whatever. Which knowing Matt Reeves and how he directs, I wouldn't be surprised if that's true because he really does like to tell very deep and complex stories.
Let's see. See, right, read this part. The 2021 film includes some of the same characters and actors from the 2016 version and is less of a sequel and more of a second try. In
Yeah,
the end, the sour response to the original film and confusion over this one's connection to it may have been a difficult sell for moviegoers. Yeah. At least this guy was they're all blaming it on COVID right now. We all know that's not true.
yeah, and the majority of the theaters, a lot of the theaters are still open, so really that is no excuse.
Right.
And
I just know that there's really no reason for it to do like this. There's not. I mean, I just want to see what it's gonna do. They're gonna blame it on us. They're gonna blame it on the pandemic. No, it's James Gunn. No, it's just like, yeah, you guys, you critics, yeah, Warner Brothers is paying you a bunch of fucking money to give them good reviews. Now, please give us good reviews. We'll do anything you want.
right, and
they did it with Birds of Prey, and it fell flat on its ass. They did it with Wonder Woman '84. It fell on its ass, flat on its ass. They now they're doing it with the Suicide Squad.
and that's
with 100% RT score. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and that's really the thing. Like, I've seen people on Twitter being like, "Hey, what is your prediction for what would be your prediction for the box office of the Snyder Cut if it went to theaters right now during COVID?" And people were saying, yeah, probably around 100 million because of the 4-year hype around it and the curiosity level of it as well, with it coming out in after 4 years of fighting for it. And really, like, if you really do think about it, like, yeah, I really do agree with that. It would have at least made close to 100 million in COVID terms. But if COVID wasn't around, it definitely would have made a billion. It definitely would have made, if it with accounting for the 4-hour runtime and possible intermission. I would just say that without COVID, Zack Snyder's Justice League would have made at least close to a billion, like probably like at least 800 million.
Dr. Fate, I missed this one. He said, "Do you guys think that Pattinson will be the best Batman ever, or what?"
I think really right now, like I said, I haven't seen Robert Pattinson's acting chops since the Twilight Saga. So really, I'm just coming at this in an open mind when it comes to Robert Pattinson's Batman performance.
Yeah, I have high hopes for him, but I'm always going to be until I see me. I've got to see it first Because if you ask me, I'm just too big of a Batman fan. Me personally, I think that he's the best, period, there is. And now, when Pattinson comes on the screen, maybe Pattinson will knock it out the park in a way that we never expected. Very well could. And so far from the trailer that I've seen, it looks dark, it looks serious, it looks like it's sinister, it looks like there's going to be some detective shit going on and some good action, and it's going to be gritty. He ain't going to be no little soft ass. I mean, it looks promising, but until I see it, I can't say that for sure. And I got too much respect for Batfleck. We'll see, man. I mean, we'll see. I hope that he does, man. I mean, it's nobody's supposed to play the role forever. It's just until then, though, it's just I just really got to see. And, it'd be so much easier if they would have just gave us our arc with Batfleck and let him go out in a blaze of glory, and we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, here we go. Peacemaker was so unlikable. I can't imagine anyone wanting to watch that other than Cena. Even then, who cares about that character?" Yeah, his character wasn't. He was. Hold on. He was Groot 2.0.
Oh, I think he's talking about King Shark. Yeah, like.
Oh yeah, King Shark. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Groot.
like I completely forgot. I legit completely forgot about him.
Retard in the whole movie. King Shark was a absolute. Like, here's the problem. James Gunn, the way that he did this movie was like he should have made it PG-13. There's a lot of times where that R rating really works for you. But in this case, I think he eliminated a lot of his own audience, which was little boys. Seriously. By making it rated R. That disallows them to be able to go to the theaters and then watch this and support it if they were going to. And then at home, more of them will watch it at home because, they've got smart TVs and shit, but there's still a percentage of them that actually have responsible parents, believe it or not. They're like, no, that's rated R. You're not watching that on HBO Max, honey. Like, you know what I'm saying? So a certain amount of percentage of his own audience he alienated because he, like, the kind of things that he tried to connect with the audience was real, like, childish. Like, it was like PP jokes and just like Scooby-Doo shit and fucking Groot 2.0 shit, and that's like, and it just didn't work, and like a lot of it didn't land.
Yeah, and that's really the thing to me. Like, I actually do remember Will Rollins' Twitter thread of his review of James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and he mentioned that he brought his teenage son to the showing, which he said that it was the target audience because apparently Will knew that the target audience was to teenagers, so he brought his son in for kind of like this, like, other opinion, since the teenagers were the target audience for it, and apparently, Will's son was kind of like weirded out by it too, like he didn't like it.
Right, and this W. Murr said, "90s man, right? If they ever do a sequel, it should start out with Rick Flag waking up from the nightmare that was the Suicide Squad and carry out the OG Squad and treat the Suicide Squad as non-canon."
Oh wow! Speaking of which, hold on. Like, there was one random moment with Rick Flag's death, and that was basically showing that Rick Flag's heart was beating when he was stabbed. I don't know why that was in there. It would have made more, like, it was like it, like for me, like, I kind of did feel something with Rick Flag dying, but then when it showed his Rick Flag's heart, I was like, okay. I don't know what that was for. Like it felt like it needed, like it was, like it felt like a kind of like a part of another joke to me. I don't know what that whole thing was, but that's really just a nitpick for me. So,
Right. Anywho, let's see. All right. Well, I think we've about covered it all for today on this live stream. Anyway, so when is this trending event for the Ayer Cut coming up now? The new, because I guess we, what was the reason that we changed the date now for this trending?
David Ayer didn't want the trending event to happen that day because it was the time that James Gunn's Suicide Squad came out to HBO Max. So that's why. And the new release and the new Twitter event date is this Friday. So Friday the 13th.
Okay. Friday the 13th it is. Yep. So Friday the 13th, I want everybody there. Maybe we can do a live stream while we tweet. I don't know. Can we do that?
Yeah, we can.
I don't know. We'll figure something out. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do something else. But yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna try and put something special together for that. No promises. But either way, I hope that you guys all are there on the 13th. We're gonna get this damn Ayer Cut released. It's the last thing we do.
Yeah.
And no, I agree. James Gunn doesn't deserve Ayer's respect. You got to earn that. And, yeah, but you know, it is what it is. But thank you guys all for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
Be there or be square. Peace.
Peace.